Welcome to the Making You, an accurate reflection of Christ podcast, where you become translucent glory. Now here's your host and glory teacher, Karen Pina.
Kingdom greetings. In the last episode, you learned about the heart of Ascension, which is a spiritual promotion versus a career transition in the natural. There are 7 types of ascensions that we will explore in order for you to become an accurate reflection of Christ. They are mental, governmental, financial, relational, physical, worship and prayer, and geographical. Are there more than 7 types of ascensions? You may be asking and thinking, and the question to ask is this: are there any other types of ascensions that I need in order to become the Word walking around in the earth in the flesh? Wow. With that statement and this episode, I'm going to share some types of ascensions, and then in next week's episode, I will share what remains, whatever the remaining types of ascensions are. So let's dive in to part 1 of the 7 types of ascensions. Mental ascent is a type of ascension that you may be familiar with. And in the last series of season 1, I posed a question. Remember? How low can you go? And many believers have been exposed to some sort of traumatic childhood issue. And sadly, due to an issue like this, it can take a lifetime of meditating on the word, deliverance, and spirit-led coaching before one begins to ascend mentally. And we illustrated that right in the first season. You've got to be able to sort through the lows and the highs, to get to glory. And you can identify how long the journey will be by examining what you think, right? So how long it takes you to come into the place of mental ascension is measured by looking at what you're thinking. I know some people say that Jesus saved my soul. However, he's graced me with another understanding. In the Making book on pages 75 and 76, I share a diagram. This diagram is named the U diagram, and it illustrates your unique design. Visualize this. When you come to Christ, your spirit man is like a little blip on the radar, and your soul is like a capital letter U. In the center of that big old capital letter U is your body. This illustrates that if you are going to live in glory, you need to flip the script. That's right. Your spirit man needs to become the big old you, and your soul needs to fade into the sunset. Your soul is comprised of your mind, will, emotion, and subconscious memories is what you work on in order to ascend. Wow. No, Jesus didn't save that aspect of you. That's going to require some work. In fact, this is why Romans 12:2 admonishes you to renew your mind daily. The more renewal your mind undergoes, the more you will ascend. In Romans 12:1, you learn that your body will follow whichever is the largest entity of your triune being. This is why the more Christ-like your mind is, the more likely it is that you can receive healing. In fact, my husband and I saw this hold true for many of the clients we coached when we had our practice. One woman comes to mind who is deaf in one ear. And in one coaching session, we begin to, think about this, brick by brick, visualize this, brick by brick, stone by stone. Think about a high tower. We began to pull every brick down, every rock down, every stone down that was a lie. And as we did this, she began to hear because the lies were replaced with the truth of the word. She could hear. I will never forget that session. Saba, she said, I can hear you in both of my ears. Sada. Wow. This is a perfect example of the types of elevation you can receive when you ascend mentally. You will find that this concept can be applied to all 7 types of ascensions, which brings us to governmental ascension. Wow. Now, I know that people are coming to this podcast listening from all different places. And so our government is Ephesians 4, specifically looking into the 11th and the 12th verse. You'll begin to see how God wants his government or his kingdom ran in the earth. Okay, so he has placed officers. Christ did this specifically. He left gifts of men that will hold offices of apostle, prophet, pastor, teacher, and evangelist. 5 specific officers that will govern in the earth for him, that are legally, Zodebe Shabbat, legally governors. Wow, I know that people think that they're ruling in the earth and they're dominating in the earth, but you have to acknowledge his government in these offices: apostle, prophet, pastor, teacher, evangelist, with apostle being the top tier officer in God's kingdom. And I'm tying in the mental and the governmental ascension together right now because there is a correlation. When I was coming into this office, did I need to change my mind about some things? Even my prayer life changed dramatically. It went from asking, petitioning, to decreeing and governing. See that? And that's a huge mental shift because you're waiting for God to speak and give you instructions, and he's waiting on you to exercise your authority. He's waiting on you as an apostle to open up your mouth and decree, to take dominion, to administrate. Even the way you deal with money changes. Everything, your prayer life, your worship life, your finances, everything changes when you come into one of these offices. I'm just using myself as the object lesson and using apostle as the office. If you are going to move from evangelist to prophet, from a prophet to an apostle, you will go through a mental and governmental ascension. Remember, ascension is a kingdom promotion. So when you are moving from evangelist to prophet and prophet to apostle, while you are being promoted in the spirit, your movement from one governmental post to another correlates to a promotion in what you do as well as how you think. And if you are working in the marketplace, the same holds true. I know for me, when he began to bring me into the office of apostle, I was working in the marketplace and I could see literally this spiritual promotion because it manifested in the natural. Bosses were leaving and openings were being created all around me for promotion. I talk about this in a great deal in the Ascending into the Office of Apostle book. And if you are a prophet that is ascending into this office, or if you want to learn more about this office and the apostolic, maybe you serve an apostle, you have to. You must. This is a must read book. Pick it up. It's out on Amazon.com. And I'll also put the link in the resources section of the show notes. Another way that you can look at this type of ascension is going back to Ephesians 4. I know that some people refer to these as fivefold giftings or fivefold gifts or something in that vein, but they're also referred to as ascension gifts. And this is the term that I prefer because it keeps us in the mindset that it is not a career transition. You see, I never wanted to be a professional minister. Oh no, because that connotation is that you're working in ministry for money. You're working to please man versus to please God. And you got all the mechanics down. My Father. You know how to preach the sermon, how to baptize, all the rites, the rituals, the sacraments. You know how to serve and prepare for communion. You get the picture. But where's the glory? So no, I never wanted to be a professional minister. And it's important as you are ascending mentally and governmentally to get clear about and articulate out of your mouth what you do and do not want to be. It is just as important to articulate what you don't want to be as it is to articulate what you do want to be, especially when you are ascending in your gifting into another office, because your responsibilities will increase. That's really what promotion is. It is an increase in responsibilities. Now think about that. Think about that. You're ascending into more responsibility. Father is promoting you by saying you can handle more. So that right there clues you in to the truth that you definitely need a mental shift. Wow. This is why some people have what's called a nervous breakdown, because the responsibilities of life that they have do not match the measure of ascension in their mind, mentally, and in their spirit, governmentally. See that? When you ascend governmentally, your authority in the kingdom increases, and you must be stable, not double-minded. You must be of a sound mind in order to handle this governmental kingdom increase. So we have covered in this episode mental and governmental ascension. I want you to think about, you have an assignment. Think about your life and where you are right now and ponder, okay, these 2 ways to ascend. Get in his presence. Listen to this again. Reflect, write, sup, and allow him to unveil to you the times where you have ascended or where you are poised right now to ascend in these 2 areas. Write it down. Whatever he uncovers, write it in your journal. If you're new around these parts, we do a lot of journaling. So get a journal out, and I'll be right back here next week with more ways to ascend in the kingdom. Karen Pina, your host, glory teacher, and ascension specialist, signing out.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. To discuss and learn more about this episode, join your Glory community at www.gloryschoolcommunity.com. Finally, be sure to sign up for the RSS feed to know when the next episode is uploaded.